Chuck, your reaction to the Nico news and how unexpected or expected was it for you?
Well, I mean, I think it was fairly inevitable. I mean, given, everything that's gone on in the last 9 months, and especially how this season started, which is basically a continuation of what happened at the end of last year. I think the one thing that maybe surprised me was, the Mavericks have so many games at home here in this stretch that started the other night. I mean, it's 4 straight. I think 7 of 8 are going to be at home, as part of 13 of 18 to start the year. I thought they might give it another week because Davis is supposed to be back at some point. Lively is supposed to be back at some point in this run. And they'd get a chance at least to see, what it all looks like with all the bigs. I mean, obviously, whatever the vision was that Nico had, I mean, they've never been able to execute that vision because of injuries. Well, all those guys are supposed to be back right now, or at least in the near future. So I guess I'm surprised that they did it before they actually had a chance to really see if it would work. And certainly there were questions as to whether or not it would work. But, they decided to move when they did.
Where did you fall on that philosophy about whether or not it would work? I know you're right, injuries sabotaged it all. But did you see, the logic of what he was trying to do, or was this flawed from the start?
Well, no, I understand the concept of the two bigs. It's going on everywhere in the NBA. I mean, the Mavericks are definitely not alone in that. The problem I think that they have is that Davis is so much better suited to playing center, and he doesn't want to play center. And, he doesn't want to get banged up for whatever reason. He doesn't want to do it. But his offensive game does not allow for the necessary spacing. I don't know if they necessarily had the right guys to make it work, other than on the defensive end, where they were going to be very good, but quite frankly, already are pretty good, even with them being shorthanded without Davis and Lively. I mean, they're third in the league in defense right now. I understand the concept. I don't know if the execution was going to work. I mean, I guess we saw it for about 32 minutes against Houston last year, right? It worked pretty good in that game. Yeah. I mean, other than that, we don't know.
Coop, is this an example you think of? At the end of the day, sports franchises, maybe not literally or on paper or anything else, but at the end of the day, sports franchises really do belong to fan bases. And if a fan base gets unhappy enough, they will make moves to ultimately give into what the fan base is clamoring for.
I'm not going to go that far because I think this was the rare exception. We've never seen a trade like this in the history of sports, at least in the modern history of sports. And maybe if Babe Ruth was sent to the Yankees during the age of the internet, then things would have been different. But this was the most unusual trade that's ever been made. And so there was a far greater opportunity for management to hear the complaints of fans. I mean, fans are always going to complain unless their team ultimately is raising a trophy. So I don't necessarily believe that, especially in the era of major corporate ownership. I just don't see that happening very much. But I think it's still worthy of fans' efforts to make their feelings known. Listen, the only way you can really make your feelings, hit ownership is with your decision making. If you decide that you're not going to watch games or going to go to games or going to spend money on merchandise and parking and concessions and all those things that teams rely on, not quite as much as getting $76 billion over the next 11 years from television, but if you're getting hit like that, I mean, businesses will pay attention, and so from that standpoint, this definitely was a win for the fan, but I don't see it as a long-term change of direction as far as how ownership regards the decision-making that they make.
Chuck, how uncomfortable did it get inside the AAC, and did you end up feeling bad for Nico at points?
Well, I felt bad yesterday for sure. I mean, because, listen, most of us anyway have been fired from jobs. Nobody likes getting fired from jobs, and frankly, watching people get fired from jobs is uncomfortable. And it was uncomfortable in the building. I frankly was disappointed in the fans at the end of the game on Monday night when P.J. Washington's trying to make 3 free throws to put the game in overtime, and the fans are chanting. I mean, that's, again, I'm not going to tell fans how to fan, but that's, to my opinion, not particularly good fandom because the players themselves had nothing to do with the decision that was made.
Do you think that how well, I mean, obviously Luka's a great player, but do you think how hot he started the season sped the process up at all, or was this all strictly based on what we saw from the floor from the Mavericks?
I can't think that they were unaware of what Luka was doing. But of course, Luka's missed some games too here at the start of the year. He got hurt, his finger and his ankle and stuff like that. So he missed, I think, 3 games. He's played 7 of the 11 or 6 of the 11. Because I know he's rested a couple of games too. So he's not been out there a whole bunch, but he's spectacular. He's a show, and fans anywhere, not just in Dallas, but fans anywhere, they want to see greatness and they want to be entertained when they're seeing greatness. And that's how Luka plays. And Luka plays with a particular joy that I think, very few players have played with in today's NBA, and frankly, have ever played with. Yeah, he gets mad, he gets frustrated, he wears his heart on his sleeve, and I think fans love that, good, bad, or otherwise. But so I think you can't ignore it, but I think the fact remains is that from the time that the trade was made, Anthony Davis played 14 games, and they just have not gotten any return on the investment at all. And I think that's a concept that the ownership understands, and that's why they made the move they made.
Chuck Cooperstein, the voice of the Mavericks, here with us on 105.3 The Fan. So, Coop, you just referenced game-tying free throws. Crowd is chanting up there while P.J. Washington's there. Brian Windhorst talked about, hey, this was affecting the players, like some of the intensity from the fan base. How much of this decision do you think came down to an internal evaluation of, man, even if we would normally give Nico some extra time to let this play out, this is affecting people on the court too much to let it keep going?
See, I don't know that I agree with that, Bobby.
You're 0 for 2, Bob.
That's fine. Yeah, I'm here to set up the opposite view to set Coop up so he can knock it all down.
Get chop off that third tee.
I don't see that because I guess just being around athletes long enough, I think once the game starts, they are so focused on what they're doing out there that the outside noise comes when they're not playing. And how it affects them in the locker room and things like that. But, I mean, it's not like – the games at the American Airlines Center, except for the opening game against San Antonio, they've all been close games. They're all going to the wire. I mean, they have a chance to win those games, and they haven't done it. So, it's not like, they're walking out there and playing and going like, woe is me, we're getting blown out by 20 here tonight. That just hasn't been the case. So I don't think hearing that, in the course of the game, I don't think that accelerated the decision-making at all. I think what accelerated is everything that we've talked about here for the last 10 minutes.
We'll try and see if I'll be 0 for 3 here, Coop. What about the idea of the 9 months after? Forget the actual day the trade's made and forget what happened on the court. How much do you think some of the response and some of the PR issues that existed from this were something where this may have played out differently if the PR answers would have been different?
From Nico?
Just from the organization in general. If the fan base wouldn't have been angered so much by some of the responses, this would have been allowed to have more time.
I think this is an on-court production thing. I mean, look, the Mavericks were 9-18, including the play-in games. After Kyrie got hurt. Okay, so they're 9-18, and now they're 3-8 this year. So you do the math on that. When you have that type of win percentage, stuff happens.
Chuck Cooperstein here on the D&M Leasing Hotline. Bobby, stick to football in your 840 segment.
I just let him get 3 swings off. That was Coop hitting 3 home runs.
No, he can do the batter with the Bugs Bunny slow pitch.
Chuck, my question for you is your personal preference and what you think they will do moving forward. What is the plan? Do you stay the course? You wait for AD health, Kyrie to come back, or should this thing be blown up and just built around Flag?
Well, I mean, ultimately, I think they're going to have to build around Cooper Flag. I mean, that's, when that happens, I don't know. But again, I don't think it happens until you get a full-time general manager in here. And who that is, I don't know. The speculation is out there. We've all heard the names, and I think they're all legitimate. But I think, they've got to get, first off, if you were going to trade Anthony Davis, you've got to get him back on the floor and have him play and have him be his 25 and 12 and see if you can rebuild his value. Because right now, I mean, the guy's not played. The guy's played 14 games since last February. It's not good. I mean, he's got to be able to get on the floor and he's got to be able to perform. And really, frankly, given Kyrie, guy's turned into a beloved figure in this town. I mean, the transformation from what he was considered when he arrived here to what he is right now is one of the more remarkable ones I've ever seen in sports.
Yeah.
And I think fans, from what I can tell, they don't want to lose Kyrie, but they understand if Kyrie wanted to move someplace else and have a better chance to win before his career comes to an end. But I don't know what it looks like. But ultimately, it does revolve around Flag. And if you looked at that game Monday night and how he played, I mean, that's the type of game I think we're going to see from him far more often than we won't see as time goes on. And if you look at, from where he was on opening night and how tentative he was on opening night and then how he's been at times in the first 10 games of the year, and then watch that game last night or Monday night against Milwaukee and see how assertive he was, and especially in the fourth quarter, that was just a phenomenal sign. And not that I'm particularly surprised, but if anything, I'm surprised that it took him that long to assert himself. But I guess also that means he's being a good teammate. He was just looking for his place.
Injury issues and offensive creation issues aside, you talked about the defense. What is it that has helped this defense work so well early in the season while maybe the rest of the team has not?
It's a great question, and I'm not really sure I understand. Now, again, the schedule hasn't been the strongest.
Right.
I mean, they have played Washington twice, and, Washington does turn over the ball like no one's business. And, the Mavericks didn't take advantage of that in the game in Dallas in the second game of the year, but they certainly did the other night in D.C. when they won. The last couple of games, anyway, their rebounding has been significantly better. But I think they operate. It's not like they have any great individual defenders, although I think Flag could definitely develop into that. He's pretty good right now, but I think he's going to be a lot better, obviously. But I think they really have figured out kind of the team concept. That everybody's on a string, and if one guy falters, then we really have a problem at that end. And I think maybe there's also a knowledge, knowing that their offense has struggled as much as it has, that they've got to be good at that end. And they have been good at that end. And I think that, that should be acknowledged. I mean, you look at the games they've played against Oklahoma City, Houston, and Milwaukee. I mean, 3 of the top 9 offenses, I believe, in the NBA right now. They held Oklahoma City to 101. And a 101 defensive rating. They're at like 122. The Rockets are even a better offensive team. They're averaging like 122 a game. Their offensive rating against the Mavericks was 105.6. And the Bucks, they didn't have a whole lot going on until Giannis decided he was going to take over the game in the fourth quarter, and he did, and he was great. But still, they averaged like right around 118, I think, a game. But their offensive rating was like 105.8. It was the Mavericks numbers are really good, and it seems like the better teams that they play, the more dialed in they are. It'll be interesting tonight against Phoenix, which is kind of an average team in the league, but they're a great offensive team. Okay, I mean, they're a great shooting team. So I'm really interested to see how that comes to pass. But it's definitely one of the most bizarre things. You look at the overall net rating, the Mavericks are a minus 5.8 in their net rating. They are the only team in the top 20 in the NBA that have a minus net rating. Everybody else is positive. They're the only ones that have, like, with the defensive rating where they are, but they're the only ones that are like a minus net overall, which tells you just how bad their offense is.
Chuck, great stuff as always. Thank you so much for the time. You're always there for us, unlike RJ Choppy. We appreciate it. Have a great call.
Be good, guys. Take care.
Chuck Cooperstein on the D&M Leasing Hotline.